Already, Colony alumni, we're back at it again with part two with our conversation with Gina Tronco. And just a quick recap, Gina told us about her growing up in West Albany, which I'm still trying to fathom how that is West Albany, but I know it is. How she grew up there, went to Colony Central. She loved playing music, loved being in the band, loved cheerleading, and then she ventured off to St. Rose to continue her love of music and to get a degree there, then venture off to Coxsackie. And then after that, she started to have three girls that were all under the age of three at one time. And she was telling us how much fun that was and was like easy peasy. So I think that's where we left off, and we'll pick up there. But I just want to say real quick too, and we were just talking about this before. There's a classmate of ours named Chad Conrad, who currently is has some medical issues. And if you guys go to Facebook and look up under my name or Mike Smith out there, you can see there's a GoFundMe page, and we'll see if we can put that someplace on what we're doing. But if you guys can look into that, and if you can support or donate to Chad, please do. So on that note, we'll come back to Gina. So now we're in Colonie by Cook Park. You have three kids. And I believe you now had to find another home to raise the kids because the house got a little small and you got three little ones there. So what happened next?
Yeah, so we end up building another house, this time in North Colony. And that's where we stayed for a good 10 years. And the kids we raised them there and went to Forts Ferry. Until we outgrew that house, we just, just with the kids and their stuff and their sports and their toys and their bikes, we moved to a house in Loudonville. And then the girls started going, they were in junior high. We went to Holy Names. They started playing soccer. They started dancing. They did gymnastics, every sport imaginable. So now we are running all over the place. And, eventually soccer takes over our world and all three play soccer, of course, for the same team, but not on the same team, for the same club.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was fun. That was fun. Every weekend, Alex is here. I'm here. One's with another parent, or we've got multiple kids and it was a great time. It was a great time. Met a lot of people. A lot of our friends are from that soccer era, and life just got busy. And every day, we just did our thing and stayed under the radar. Nothing exciting. We just raised kids, worked hard, lived life. And that's what we did for a while.
Did you ever, with the three kids, did you get into a lot of predicaments where all three girls may have had a game at three different locations?
Oh yeah, every weekend. Yeah, pretty much every weekend. There was one weekend where it was a tournament, and we counted. We went to 16 soccer games in one weekend between the three of them.
Oh,
yeah. But I'd do anything to get that back. I'd love to.
I get it. Yeah.
Right.
My son is in basketball tournaments. It's the same thing, but I only have one, so I can focus on one. But you walk out of those tournaments completely. You're excited to watch them play, but you're completely drained. The thought of doing anything after that is like, I just want to go to bed.
Oh, it is. And when they were younger and played like a rec league, Alex would coach all of them. So it was 3 games every Saturday. You're just exhausted.
Yeah.
I get it. Actually, too, just a question from comparing your childhood growing up to your girls. How much different was that? Because like I said, because we know each other since the 4th grade, I think, when we all got to Sand Creek. And I was just saying, with all that stuff going on. So how would you compare your growing up, and actually with your sister too? So there's actually 2 of you growing up compared to like what it was with your daughters now.
Totally different. There was never a travel. So I didn't even know they existed. I had no idea travel sports existed. I had no idea what people did if they didn't work. I don't know. It just was it's a totally different thing. My parents, even if I did play a travel sport, there's no way they could ever bring us anywhere. So it's a completely different upbringing. When I got the girls' SAT tutors, my mom was like, "Why would you do that?" And I was like, "Because I think that's what's done. Like, that's what we do now. We get SAT tutors for our kids, you know? So yeah, completely different upbringing.
We
You
were
know
just
something
talking
too.
about that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say that. So we actually had this conversation yesterday. So, and I know you remember, we all went. I can't remember when it was in high school. That Saturday to take
Yeah.
the SAT, we all went there. My question I was asking Resk, I was like, "Hey, did you study for that? You know, going in?" And that's my question to you. Did you just show? Because I showed up cold. The way I looked at it was this: I know your name. You got 200 points. So I
And
said,
that's
right now,
half of my score. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Yeah,
said,
no,
I
we
got
did. I
200
did
off.
study for it. I don't even know what it really, I don't think I remember what it was. I
It was
remember like
long.
I had to take it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I studied. I definitely did not study for that.
Yeah, we were there for a long. I just remember we were there for a long time. I was drained walking out, and I took mine right in senior lounge. I think we were all maybe spread out throughout the school,
We
but
were. I
mine was
think I was in the mug. I think I
yeah,
remember being in
yeah.
the mug for that.
But
Oh,
yeah, it's a
we were like in
draining
the
test.
yeah, I think we were like in the detention room there across from the nurse's office. I think we were in that
Yeah.
classroom just
Yeah.
doing it. And I just remember thinking like, man, here's another test that we have to
Hmm.
take. I would say it's
Hmm.
important, you know, getting to college, but I'm like, oh my God. And that's the thing is I was like wondering, like, did anyone ever study for that? So that's the question we need to ask everyone. Did you study for your SATs? But now
Yeah.
there's
No, there was
tutors
no
and
tutor. There was no studying. There was no practice test. There was no internet to download,
Right.
a practice test. No, none of
There's no
that.
chat GPT,
No
nothing.
test.
It's just show up with your number two pencil and give it a whirl. That was
And
pretty
that's it.
much what it
That's the
was.
lesson.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember not doing so well on them. So luckily, music got me into college with
Right.
those.
no, I don't
Okay.
want to be rude here, but what was your score if you want to share? If not,
Oh
no,
my,
no
I think
worries.
it
I'll
was
just
like 748 or something, 750. It was really bad.
okay. Because mine was
Yeah.
830
Okay.
and I put letter C probably for 90% of the questions. So I'm not going to lie. That's, you know,
CCA,
my
maybe. I was
guessing
like
is
trying to
good.
get some rhythmic, some sort of. Yeah, it was not good. What'd you get,
Cool.
Rex?
Nice.
I took it twice and I got 960 the first time. And then the second time, I remember my dad bought me like the SAT prep
Oh,
book
yeah,
and I had to
well,
read it.
mhm,
And I read it and I got a whopping 980. And I was like, really? I read that whole book to get a whopping 20 points more. So yeah, I wasn't, I was, let's put it this way. There was a lot of kids scored higher than all of us that we
yeah,
graduated with. It is what
combined.
it is.
Yeah.
But we all went to college. We all got a degree, and
And we're
that's really all
all
that matters. And
doing
here we are
well.
sitting here talking to each other. So
Doing well.
how bad could things be? So yeah, it sounds like at this point in your life, life is just kind of moving.
Going
It's
along. Yep.
flying,
Yep.
right? You got three kids. Alex is, moving up the corporate ladder. I'm
Yep.
sure at Northwestern, doing really well there. Um, the girls are probably growing up so fast you can't keep track of it.
Yeah.
Um, but then we kind of get more to like the last 10 years or so, and you do some really, go through some really big things. You wrote a book. You've raised a ridiculous amount of money for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of those kind of things going on more in your last 10 years of life. And I was really, impressed by the whole fundraising thing. So congratulations to you,
Yeah.
first of all. I'll let
Thank
you
you.
tell everybody how much money you raised, because I've never known anyone that individually raised that much money.
Yeah. So last year, I was asked to run for the Visionary of the Year, which used to be called Man of the Year, Woman of the Year, which is what a lot of people know it as. But last year they changed it to Visionary, and it's a 10-week fundraising period competition. So there was
Okay.
8 of us in last year's class, and we had 10 weeks from March 22nd until June 2nd to raise as much money as we can. I raised $915,700 in the
Woo!
10 weeks. Yeah. So obviously I won locally, and that number I also won nationally. So I'm the
Yeah,
national,
Wow.
winner of fundraising.
big
So,
things.
yeah, it's all good things. I mean, that money goes to cancer research, patient advocacy,
Mm.
Whatever leukemia lymphoma patients need, that money hopefully does good. It was hard for me to ask for money because,
Mm.
it's just weird, to ask people, but I have to remember what it was for.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to my bank account, it was for cancer research. And why I was why I liked LLS is because if they're doing research and they find that the research or the treatment couldn't be used for leukemia or lymphoma, they find another cancer it can be used for. So it could be, I could have indirectly, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, have benefited from something that someone else did. So being that I was 5 years out of my cancer diagnosis, I figured it was just time to give back and give it my all and work at it for, it was more than 10 weeks. Obviously I had to prep and do everything, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So actually, I think you already answered that question. I was going to say, how did you get involved? But obviously, you had cancer yourself, and after that, you decided to get into the fundraising universe to actually help out those that obviously that are
Yeah.
impacted by
Yeah, I have
this.
been part of other campaigns in the past. Like we've done, a runway campaign, or for, other friends of mine who have run. I've been part of their team and fundraising. Did some little bit of
Mm.
fundraising for them, but never to the extent of what I had to do last year.
Yeah,
So it
now I know
was,
with like LLS and any kind of fundraising campaign, my guess is the nonprofit organization itself probably gave you some tools to help you run your campaign, whether it be like email templates or social
yeah,
media posts, all
absolutely.
that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But did you do anything kind of maybe above and beyond besides just the standard stuff that most people
Sure.
do and they use, but like to raise over 900,000, you had to do some other stuff here. I'd like to hear about
Yeah.
that.
So, a lot of it was a lot of emails to people I knew. What Alex does in Northwestern, there's 78 other people who do that around the country. And, there's a lot of financial reps we know. So I used that network of Northwestern friends, and they were very generous. My
Mm.
sister put on a Dancing with the Local Stars event,
Oh wow!
and that
Oh, okay.
raised almost $200,000 in that one night. That she
Wow!
did that, and then
Wow.
everybody else on my team did, a shopping event or a trivia night or, whatever they, I had 18 events. We did an Orange Theory event. We did a spin class. So I had all these events that raised, you know, money for that. I put
Cool.
together a team of like 50 people. So
Wow.
it was,
And what was your
it
team name? Did it have like a special name or anything?
G Squad. That was
Ah,
our name.
Very
ooh.
nice. G Squad.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called
Ooh.
the G Squad.
You always were gangster, so that's fitting. Yeah.
Try to fit in like cheerleading and my name, and so that's what we came up with. And I had a whole website, Cancel Cancer 2023,
Mm.
which had everything on there. Donate link, my story. I did lots of videos telling my whole story about my
Yeah.
cancer journey. My cousin who passed away from cancer at 18. So it was pretty impactful, and it was really it was great.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And actually, to this day, you're still doing all this stuff, correct? You're still advocating on behalf of those
Yeah,
that
now
are.
I'm on the board for LLS locally. I'm
Oh,
on
okay.
their visionary committee. Um, getting candidates for this year. So yeah, I'm still involved.
Yeah, and the one thing too, you did win. I remember my parents there. Just so you know, you're like a fan favorite here in the Martinez household. So
But
they
Adele, yeah.
actually, yeah, they actually said, "Hey, did you know that Gina won this? I think you won an award. Was it last year or earlier this year?"
Which one? Right now, I won the Remarkable Women Award, locally, which that hasn't come out yet. Um, I don't remember a lot of things,
No,
but
it's
yeah,
good. No, but I just remember that. No, and I just said, I was like, wow, great for her that, she's actually
yeah,
contributing and doing great work and stuff. And I think that you were
yeah.
recognized for your efforts. And my parents, I think they read it someplace. Or, yeah, or there's another angle. I can't think what it is. Actually, I think no, what it is my mother's friends with your aunt Kathy, and maybe that's how it is, changing messages that way.
Maybe,
Kathy
yeah,
Coluccio on there,
yeah,
and that's how it got brought up. But no, I mean that's impressive to do. And I was like, oh, that's good. And they mentioned all those things going on, and then I remember too something else came up where St. Rose actually closed down its doors, and I was like, oh wow, and started thinking of all those people that went there, and I think you
Mm.
commented on that of
I did.
St.
Yeah,
Rose
they
closing
closed the
down.
music building down in the art department maybe 4 years ago. And I was like, oh, that's not good. That can't be good.
Yeah.
All the music teachers in the area came from St. Rose.
Yeah.
Um, and then, we were involved a little bit. One of the soccer coaches works for us. So we got involved a little bit more with the soccer team in St. Rose. So got us back there. And then they just closed. And it's just a horrendous mismanagement over the years of funds and whatever they did. And I'm just so sad over it.
Mm.
So sad. Should not have
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's happening, not to make it any easier, there's other colleges that have closed. There's
Casanova.
one, yeah, there's one out here in Buffalo called Medaille, very similar to St. Rose, small school that closed. And there's even like some bigger schools that are really struggling right now, even state schools. So it's kind of in a crisis situation, unfortunately. So,
Unfortunately, I know
um,
it is sad.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about the books and the spirit water, because those are the other two big things we want to talk about, and
Yeah,
going on in your life.
yeah. So, about 7 years ago, Alex and I went through some issues that split us up for about 10 months, and during that time, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So when all of that was over and everything was
Mm,
fine, I said, I think we should write a book and maybe help somebody, which is very cliche. If I want to help
yeah,
one person, I can. But if we all keep our struggles to ourselves, how are people supposed to get help or, you know, get through what they're getting through, not think they're the only ones going through it? So I wrote the book. It came
mm.
out last May. And, I'm
What's the
not,
name? Give everybody the name of the book. I'm sorry.
why is this happening to me?
Gotcha.
And, I get a lot of messages saying, my friend's going through the same thing. Can
Yeah,
you give them a book? Or, I'm going through it, or I did that, or this happened to me, the same thing, and it makes you feel like, okay, I wasn't alone in this whole thing.
yeah,
I'm helping somebody. And then you get the people like, why are you telling everybody? Well, you know, forgiveness isn't for everybody, but I chose, I thought that was our path, was to
yeah.
forgive and help people. So when my book came
Cool.
out, Alex wrote his book. Mine's more of a memoir. Well, his is a memoir also, but in a fable kind of form.
Yep.
Um, so his is about his life, and ours is about, mine's about ours.
And
So
what's
yeah,
Alex's book called? Buddha
the
who drove
Buddha
the
who
Bent.
drove a Bentley.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I read his about. Oh, geez. I want to say I read his right when it came out. What was that?
That
Maybe
was, yeah,
4 months ago, 5 months ago?
August, September
Yeah,
this
okay.
time.
Last
Yeah,
summer. And then I just read yours maybe 2 weeks ago. Read it in one
yeah,
shot,
yeah.
one sitting.
It's a quick read.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're both available on Amazon if anyone wants to check them out. But there was one part of the book that, hit me. I could relate, not relate to it, but kind of could feel it when you were talking about when you first were found out you had cancer. Tell everyone where the first place you drove to, because I would have done the exact same thing at 40. Well, I don't know how old you were then, but even at 40,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
even at 48, I would have done the exact same thing. And I remember saying to myself, like, it's a good sign, but I'll let you tell the story. So,
So I get the phone call, and she says, if you're driving, pull over. And I'm like, okay, I'm driving. I have to pull over. Which is not really a way that you want to hear that you have
yeah,
cancer, is what, pull over. Like, but anyway, she said, so she told me. And I thought the first thing I needed to do was go to the deli and tell my parents.
yeah,
I'm like, looking back now, it was 12:15. Like, that was the worst time, and then I dropped this bomb on my parents,
Mm.
and then I'm like, I have to go. And
Yeah.
then like I leave them there in the middle of lunch hour with like all this news. And
Yeah.
it was, you're not thinking. You're just like,
Yeah.
I need to tell them. And it's, you don't really know what's happened. That whole first day is,
Yeah.
very
That,
crazy.
that's a sign of a good family relationship, though, because even to this day, not that I've gone through anything that big, but whenever big stuff happens to me, I still find myself sitting on my parents' couch in their living room like
Mhm.
I'm 10 years old,
Right.
spilling my guts out, and then I leave, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm 48 years old. Like, why
Yeah,
can't
right.
I pull myself together here? Get a grip. Like, you should be able to handle this. But it's those kid instincts kick in, and so I
You're like,
thought that. I mean,
I
that was a
need my
great part.
parents. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. I called my
and
sister. At that point, she was living in Westchester, so she wasn't even near me.
yep,
My kids were in high school. Alex had moved out at that point, and I was like, I need to go see my parents.
yeah,
So that's where I went.
It, and I was in DC, was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and I was actually waiting for my plane, and I popped in the audio. So I'll read a book, but again, when you said, "Hey, oh come on," I was like, "Hey, let me hear your book," and I just want to let you know, like the best way to describe it is like a roller coaster ride. And
Mhm.
since I knew you, when we were kids, it was like going up here, that kind of hearing Albany, and there's kind of weird when you
Yeah,
know the person, then you hear Albany, which you don't hear that much. And it was up there, and I knew the ending was, again, if no one knows you, they don't know this, and it's just this ride that goes up. But then there was like some medical issues he actually had too. Like once you're coming out, it wasn't you weren't
yeah,
clear right away. You actually had more concerns, and your sisters there, helping you. I was just like, it kind of, with Elena, it's kind of one of those things. Like when I see her, she's like, I think when I met her, she was like, what, 6 years old, 7 years
yeah,
old. So,
hmm
so in
mm,
my mind, it's like you're both kids doing this,
yeah,
because I don't know, it's just weird. That's how I just remember you. And I just, knowing that, I was like, oh man, how's this going to end? But obviously, knowing what happened, I was like, it was there. But for those who haven't read the book, it's
yeah.
something, like I said, it's powerful. And also too, I was going to ask, you know, growing up as a kid, were you spiritual? Going to church every
mm,
Sunday,
We
or
went to
like,
religion. We did our sacraments. Sunday was my parents' day off. Deli was closed, so Sunday was just, we it wasn't a regular thing for us. No. And even, my kids were born, we did, their baptisms and their communions, and we tried going to church. We were going regularly for a while, but again, sports happen, life happens, mostly sports happen, and everything, Saturday, Sunday games. So that goes to the wayside. So no, not as much as I was when all this started happening. Yeah, it's
cool.
amazing how it all comes back into your life. You're like, wow, I really needed God again. I had let it go for so long, and you need Him. We came
Yeah,
yeah,
back when we need it.
yeah. It sounded like, obviously, throughout the book, you talk about a lot of the support you got from friends, and particularly your family,
Hmm.
your sister, your parents,
Yeah,
Alex,
yeah,
so that's awesome. What would you? How do I want to say this? For someone going through the cancer experience, who maybe doesn't have the support group that you had, and
yeah,
within your tight circle, what would you tell to that person who maybe doesn't have as much support, if you can kind of think
yeah.
about it, like in terms of
Find
resources?
there's lots of groups around. You need to find like a hope group that's around. 99% of it is what's in your own brain. Like you have to
Yeah,
stay positive. You have to think positive. And you have to know that the first thing my sister told me was cancer is not here to hurt you. You have to figure out what's going on. So, you have to find a group, find one friend, find a priest, find somebody that you can do online. I think there's probably stuff online, but stay positive.
nice. That's
It's
great
all in your
advice.
mind.
Talking about positive, let's talk about this
Ah,
little bottle here, the spirit water. Tell us
yeah,
about how all that
she
got
got my
started.
daughter in for this. She's the spirit water person.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sure John and I are not her target market for this, but tell her, she's
listen,
stuck now. So
follow her TikTok. You are definitely not her target audience for that. She's big on TikTok right now. So when she was a senior at Marist, close to the city, so she came home one day and she's like, "Hey, there's some bars opening up in the city that are only water or non-alcoholic and stuff." She said, "So people just want something cool to hold, and they're at a bar and they just want to hold something cool." So I'm really big into no plastic containers, no microwaves, no additives, no, natural food, clean food. So with all the plastic bottles around, I'll recycle till the day I die, but it's not going anywhere. So we figured, let's do something good for the environment and something good for people, and let's get some water bottled in aluminum. And it has a nice twist cap, so you could,
yeah.
refill it with your whatever. You could use it as a vase. You can put a candle in it. Yeah, so that's our third rendition of the can. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, so we've been just trying to get it out there. We did a women's expo this past weekend, and we gave away, I think, 1,600 cans of water,
Wow.
just for people to, try it and join our, newsletter and
Yeah.
follow us on Instagram. And we're actually just got into 3 funeral homes, which is kind of perfect, right? Spirit was we're getting into funeral homes. So now you can find it in 3 local funeral homes here.
All right. That's an
Yeah,
interesting distribution channel, but hey,
I- you
distribution's
know,
distribution.
we got to start somewhere. So until we can
Yeah.
get a distributor, like a big distributor to come pick us up,
Right.
it's all in my garage. And if you order, my daughter gets it and she goes to the post office.
That is
So
true
that's
because
real
it came
close
from
out of my house.
Latham. I can attest to that. The package came from Latham, but the water itself, from what I read, is from down south, correct?
From Georgia, yeah. Yes,
All
from
right.
Rainforest in Georgia.
All right. So just to
Yes.
clarify, the water's from Georgia, but it's going to come from Latham. So,
Yes. It gets bottled there, packaged, and then we get the pallets here and then we ship them out.
yeah, no, I like it. I'm a water junkie. I was
As
one
a,
of those weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like crisp. It's
Yeah.
clean. Tastes clean.
Yep.
And mine came in, was it 2 days ago? And when I opened it, I was thinking, because I'm out here in Arizona, I'm like, oh, the water's going to be warm. It was literally
No, it's
cold
cold.
coming here. And I
Cold.
was like,
Yeah, it
I
stays
said,
cold.
what is in this stuff? So I
Yeah.
got it and I literally just cranked it open and had a drink right there. And I said, oh, I was
Yeah.
going to go throw it in the fridge. But I'm like, they're
Now, how
already
did it
cold. And I was
come
like,
to you? Were all the bottles intact? We're having a lot of issues with shipping and bottles
no,
coming
no,
like
no,
broken.
no. It
It's
was all
aluminum, so
good.
it's very
At first, I thought, yeah, at first I thought these were dense, but I'm like, no, that's just the way the bottle is. But no, everything
okay.
came in perfect. So
Yeah.
I was hoping, I was like, I told Rex, I go, yeah, I ordered it like a week ago. It's shipping. I hope it gets here in time by the time we talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it actually came in. Rex goes, yeah, I got mine in. I was like, oh, hopefully I can get
Yeah.
mine in the next day or
Arizona's a
so.
little further than Buffalo, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a hop, skip, and a jump.
that's it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Mine was definitely cold when I got it too, because it was
Yeah.
sitting outside. And
It
if
doesn't get cold
anything,
till August in Buffalo.
yeah, I had to let mine warm up a little bit. It was so cold. So, yeah. But John, any more? Do we want to go into our colony wind down questions, or do you have any other questions for Gina?
No, actually, so I'm just curious too. Like, doing this podcast, a couple of people are reaching out. They're curious about it. Like, what are you guys up to? And it's, I think it's just a great way to get together with people. I was going to ask you the one question: have you gone to our high school reunions?
The last one I went to, I think, was our 10-year.
Yeah.
And then Halleck put together something at a basketball game I saw you at Rex a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And that was probably my nephew graduated there and I went to his like football games a few years ago, but not inside the school. So that game was probably the first time in 30 something years I've been inside.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I was at the 10-year with you, I believe, because I think
There's the armory.
it was like that car dealership, but then they have
Yeah.
like the club upstairs. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was okay. And the people who organize those reunions, they take a lot of flack, but
They do.
it's unfair. I just like to
Yeah,
say that because they're the ones who spend the time on it, and they can only put it together. And if people come, they come. If they
they
don't, they
come.
don't.
Nothing
So,
you
and
can do.
whoever organized that, shout out to them. I think it was Sandy McHale and
Yep.
maybe Teresa Wood. I don't know. We're talking a long time ago, but shout out to them because I know there was a little online flack for a while there about people complaining and this and that. But
Yeah.
don't complain if you don't put forth the
If you
effort.
don't put
So
right. I was
yeah,
off of Facebook for a while, so I think I
yeah,
missed 15 or
yeah,
20 or 25. Yeah, I was off.
yeah. Anyway, but John, you want to close out the same way we started with some colony
Sure.
90s this or that questions?
Yeah, so here we go. So, Gina, put on your thinking cap because this is going to get
No,
really good.
should have brushed up on my
All right, so where
90s
are we?
trivia here. Okay, go
This is
ahead.
going to be good. So, where are we most likely to find you at? That's the question. Where are we most likely to find you at? At Northway Mall, Colony Center, Cross Gates, Latham Circle Mall, or as I always say, for some ungood no reason, Mohawk Mall.
Oh, I'm going to say the old Latham Circle Mall because I'm at
Ooh,
Fresh Market all the time. That's the new Latham Circle, is Fresh Market
Wow.
Plaza.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about like today, like present
Today.
day?
Oh,
Okay.
back, you want
All right.
talking back then?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
bringing
yeah,
it
yeah.
back.
92. In 92. So again, you're in your
Cross
mole
Gates.
rat.
Cross Gates.
Crossgates? Okay.
Yeah.
Follow up to that, and I'm going to ad lib a little bit here, but I just thought of this. In Colony Center back in the day, what out of the let me think about this. I'm trying to connect people with store. What was the favorite of these three stores? Haagen-Dazs, Fanny Farmer, or Foot Action?
Oh, Foot Action. Alex worked at Foot Action. That
Right.
was yeah.
Who
There
worked at
was
Fanny
Herman's
Farmer?
too. I liked Herman's. Herman's was a good sports
We
store.
talked
Yeah.
about Herman's.
Ooh. Actually, you
Yeah.
stole a question from us. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, your sister-in-law worked at Fanny Farmer though, if you remember,
She did. She did work there.
downstairs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Alex worked at Foot Action and Haagen-Dazs. I said that one. I believe it was Haagen-Dazs in the food court because I think Phil Loopy worked in Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, maybe.
So
Yeah.
there's the
Then my
connection right
sister-in-law
there.
worked at the Cranberry Bog after
Ah,
that
Ooh.
on Wolf
yep.
and Faye's drugstore. She worked
Ooh,
there too.
old school. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any
All
others
right,
for
here we go.
Gina? Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, here's a good one. So, where are we most likely to find you at? The Great Escape, Water Slide World, or Huffman's Playland? Again, in 1992.
Sinado's Market. Is that one of the
Oh, actually, that was option number 4.
is that option number 4? Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
Huffman's, if anything, because it was local. There was no going anywhere.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. Because on Sundays, like it's them too. I mean, your parents literally work from sun up to sundown, during
Yeah.
the week, and obviously that day off, you don't want to go any place, just hang out and relax. So no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last one, and I'm gonna take it way back here. Secrets or Guptals?
Oh,
Ooh.
secrets. No dress code. Come on, Rex.
No dress code.
No
That was
dress
the
code.
commercial. All
Yeah.
right, secrets.
And just to follow up on secrets, who would you always run into secrets when you're there? Like, what was the crowd that was there when you showed up?
Oh God, I think I used to go with Amy. I don't remember.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny when we bring it up, people start laughing. I'm like, don't laugh. You didn't go to Guptals. Just be honest. You
I
went into
still want to go
secrets.
roller skating. I tell Alex, I want to go roller skating one day. Like I got roller skates for my birthday this year, and I want to take them to Guptals and use them.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
absolutely.
Nice.
He should definitely do that. Come on, Alex, put
Right?
on some roller skates for
I
God's sake.
know.
You know. Awesome. Well, Gina, it was a pleasure talking with you, catching up with you. Congratulations on everything. The spirit water, the fundraising, the writing the book. I mean, you're doing it all, and truly, big inspiration to everyone out there. So thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Good catching up with you.
Awesome.
And I'll
Well,
send you those
till
pictures of my parents' basement.
Yeah, please do.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be fun. Well, again, thanks, Gina. We will talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.